Hey, it's me, it's Noah Vortex, and I figured I'd do basically just look at myself, and I think I'm going to talk about, if you're an artist, if you have the self-portrait, basically just talk about the self-portrait. So the concept, not only the concept, the actual making of self-portraits, because for myself personally, I've always been I think I got into self-portraits when I was about teenager, probably. Really. I just thought, because the first thing you start doing, like when you get to teenage age anyway, is you basically start sketching a woman's face. That's for me anyway. I mean, this is just my perspective. It's not going to be the same for everybody. Everybody's drawn to different subjects, obviously, but you sort of it depends obviously on what you're drawn to in terms of the body. I mean, for me, it's women. Like I like women's bodies. I like the fluidity of their movements, and also there's a lot more. Basically, to break that down, there's a lot more charge, basically, in terms of for me, of course, there's more of a sexual charge because, the first time I ever saw a woman naked, it was doing life drawing, really. Like when that's the first time I really, really looked at a woman. It's kind of a cliche, right? Sort of artist and and obviously when I think I would have been 20, I guess. This is the because I didn't lose my virginity until I was quite old, actually. So not old, but older than I wasn't 18 or something, or 16 or anything. So obviously, viewed pornography when I was a teenager, so that happens. But that's the first place where for a man anyway, or for a teenage boy, like I was then. So the first place you really get exposed to bodies in general is pornography, generally, like on late night television pornography, of course. It's not hardly a revelation, is it, that teenage boys watch porn? That's a thing they'll do. It's not just teenage boys; everyone does it. Obviously, it's just masturbation is good for you. Actually, that's a true fact. It's true. Where was I going with this? Okay, so self-portraits. So self-portraits is... So the obvious thing that I'm saying here is that it's about getting in touch with all the aspects of yourself. And I don't mean it sounds so bad, doesn't it? It's almost a punish way that get in touch with yourself. It is a form of masturbation, to be fair. I mean, basically, if you're doing a self-portrait, it's either two modes, I think. It's basically either you're portraying yourself in a moment in time which seems fixed, a bit like an orgasm, really, like a good one anyway, or you're trying to really make yourself seem, in a sense, more than you actually are. That's the interesting mix of the self-portrait. I even find that when I'm watching these videos back, there are moments here when I'm actually talking now where I'm looking at my image on the camera, right? This is a bit of a thought experiment, just roll with it. I'm actually looking at my image on the camera, and then other times where I'm actually looking into the camera. This is to do with the, I guess it's male gaze in my case. I'm basically analysing myself whilst looking there. There's also there's this concept of the female gaze as well, which is just the opposite of that, basically. So how it could be how women see women, or how women see men, or vice versa. I draw both sexes. It would be ridiculous if I just drew women. That would be absurd. Because men exist. But pretend. Well, I mean, actually, I've also I've drawn figures that are vaguely android-like as well in the past. I remember one painting I did actually, Worker Bee, and that was obviously not going to go into details, but that was basically a sex painting essentially. So that was a painting from sex, actual sex. Like, you know, it was actually a painting that happened after a lot of sex. Queen Bee, that was it. Sorry, not Worker Bee. Queen Bee, yeah, not Queen Bee as opposed to Worker Bee. But yeah, that was a painting I did. So sex comes into work. Sex comes into doing self-portraiture because you want them, but also cannot as well. Sometimes you want to idealize yourself, idealize how you look, and other times you want to just reflect the actual raw reality of it. Because basically what you're doing when you're doing a self-portrait anyway is you're trying to represent reality, basically. And if it goes back to Rembrandt, really, that's an artist I want to draw more inspiration from, to be honest. I've never seen any of his works in person. I'd love to, but Rembrandt is, considered one of the greatest artists of the self-portrait, because his self-portraits are fairly, as well, like, brutal with himself, like, he shows the process of aging. And that's really what you're dealing with when you're actually an artist doing self-portrait. You are dealing, I mean, look at Picasso's final portrait, for example. That is, he's basically fallen to bits at that point. He'd always portrayed himself in the Minotaur, like he was his, and there's a symbolism that comes with it as well, in terms of the how the artist has that symbolic representation of himself. Now, for me, I'm probably something like also a goat, but I think, I don't know, not that simple actually, more like Pan sort of, so like half man, half sort of animal goat thing. I think if it goes into animalism, doesn't it, I suppose, but which can be part of it. I really like exploring animalism in my work. And I also do the opposite of that as well. So going back to the Queen Bee thing, I actually portrayed myself as somewhat of like a alien robot-y sort of thing. Interpret that how you want, and it's pretty how I fuck. Basically, maybe like an alien robot. Technical, I suppose, and well, I don't know. Anyway, obviously this video is just for adult artists, not for our market. Actually, is not for kids, because this is obviously more mature content because of what I'm talking about, I suppose. But like I said, I'm trying to really, basically, so how can sex has to come into a self-portrait, right? Okay, that's what I'm saying, because every time you view an image on, like, basically, if you want to be brutally honest, like if I'm on YouTube and I go onto a attractive woman's page, I'm going to be distracted a lot of the time. This happened a lot in the early YouTube. Like I would be there was a lot of women on there basically with huge jugs, and I'd be trying to take in the information she was saying, like really listen, but I'd just be distracted by the huge jugs in front of me. And that's just the reality of being a man. You're just distracted by breasts sometimes, It's hardly. Women do the same thing. Actually, they get if they like a guy, or they suddenly feel, that sort of thing towards him. Then they'll look down at his junk, basically. Even subconsciously, it doesn't even happen consciously. It's just like your focus will go to, downwards to the jungle. Anyway, that was probably enough the dick quota for this video. Probably need a shave. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, the good thing about self-portrait is you should also make yourself vulnerable. It shouldn't just be about, it's not just about making yourself look like amazing, just like the best that you can be. It's more reflect reality, show reality of where you are at in life and where you are in the sort of journey of yourself as an artist. And yeah, that's what I'd say. All I'd say about Dislikes Who and Pretensely about being an artist and making yourself, not making yourself, but painting a painting or any sort of artwork, which is a real like reflection piece. So with that, peace out, and like and subscribe. Could do with some more subs basically, because like we've got 367, which is not very many. So like and subscribe. Like I say in all these videos, I only ever ask this at the end because it's content first, stats, and basically begging at the end. So with that said, I've been Noir Vortex. I'm Chris Godber. I've got a website, chrisgodberart.co.uk if you want to have a look at it. And yeah, it's got some artwork on it and all of the things. Noir Vortex blog is for my writing and theory and that, and don't know what else to say.